Welcome to 15 Minutes with Dad, the podcast that gives you 15 minutes of inspiration, practical advice, and heartfelt conversations to empower your journey in fatherhood. I'm your host, Lirec Williams, a dynamic career visual and performing artist, professional data system director, and an author who's been a dad longer than any of those titles, proudly guiding a blended family of 4. And here we dive into transformational strategies, real life stories, and actionable tips that helps you navigate the challenges of family life and divorce, all while growing into the best version of yourself. Whether you're looking to boost your emotional resilience, redefine your role as a father, or simply find balance in your everyday life, you're in the right place. So get ready to transform your fatherhood journey 1 minute at a time. Now let's get started. Hey, welcome back to another episode of 15 Minutes with Dad, the podcast where we get real about fatherhood, personal growth, and the journey to becoming your best self. I'm your host, Lirec Williams, and we've spent the last several episodes building a foundation, talking about authenticity, deep connections, co-parenting, and emotional resilience. But today's episode is all about the reality of fatherhood, challenges, setbacks, adversity. Life is going to throw obstacles at you. Some you expect and some that knock the wind out of you. The question isn't if challenges will come, but how you'll respond to them. So in this episode, Overcoming Challenges from Adversity to Growth, we're going to talk about why adversity is not your enemy, but your greatest teacher, the core principles of inner excellence and how they apply to fatherhood, and a powerful 6-step framework to shift your mindset and turn setbacks into stepping stones. Jim Murphy, the author of Inner Excellence, teaches us that success in any area, whether in sports, business, or life, starts in the mind. So if we can learn to control our thoughts, emotions, and reactions, we can transform any obstacle into opportunity. So if you're a father going through a rough season, whether it's financial, relationship challenges, co-parenting struggles, or personal setbacks, this episode is for you. Let's get started. When we face difficulties, our natural instinct is to resist them. We want life to be smooth, predictable, and free from struggle. But the truth is, challenges are where real growth happens. Jim Murphy writes in Inner Excellence, adversity is not the enemy. It's the training ground for greatness. The most successful people in the world don't avoid challenges. They embrace them as opportunities to improve. And as fathers, we have to do the same. Every challenge we face, whether it's a tough conversation with our child, a disagreement with our co-parents or our spouse, or financial hardship, is an opportunity to grow, learn, and become stronger. Think about the men who inspire you, the great fathers, leaders, or role models you admire. None of them got where they are without struggle. It wasn't comfort that shaped them. It was how they responded to adversity. So how do we shift our mindset? How do we start seeing challenges as teachers rather than threats? That's where the principles of inner excellence come in. So we're going to master our inner game first. And success isn't about what happens to you. It's about how you respond internally. So if your thoughts are filled with stress, frustration, or doubts, your actions will also reflect that. You can start your day with a morning mental reset. Take 5 minutes before your kids wake up to reflect on the type of father you want to be today. And this brings the big overarching, what kind of image I want my child to have of me, question down to a minute detail. And you take it one day at a time. The second would be to let go of the ego and expectations. I mentioned this quite a few times in this U 2.0 series, and this has been the most groundbreaking shift in my life. And I didn't notice how much my ego was intertwined with everything that I do, how I respond to my family, how I respond to friends, how I feel when people aren't happy with something that I did, or even the thing that's kind of kept me back from being my best self is the ego. We quite literally create our own suffering when we get too attached to how things should be. And I focus on taking this word should out of my vocabulary, out of my family's vocabulary, because should is the breeding ground for ego. Maybe you expected a perfect family, a smooth co-parenting relationship, or to be further ahead in life. Let go of unrealistic expectations. It will bring you peace. So when frustration hits, ask yourself, am I upset because of reality or because of my expectations of that reality? Shift your focus to what you can control. The third thing would be to respond. Don't react. Emotional reacting is easy, but responding with clarity and intentions is what separates great leaders. When your child is acting out, when your ex is being difficult, or your spouse is being difficult or frustrated with you, or when life wasn't going your way, just take a pause. Just pause. Practice the 3-second rule. Take a deep breath, count to 3, and then choose your response. The fourth concept is to see every challenge as a test. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, how is this happening for me? And I'll say it again. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, how is this happening for me? Every tough moment is a chance to model strength, patience, and wisdom for your kids. Shift your mindset. Reframe adversity as training for your growth. Now, I want to go into the 6-step framework to turning your adversity into growth. And this is things that have transformed my life in real time, and I will stand by this. So step 1, pause and observe. The biggest mistake happened when we react instead of thinking first. And instead of reacting emotionally to stress, take 10 seconds before responding. If your child disrespects you, if your wife goes off on you or says something that hurts your feelings, or something happens in your life that just kind of takes your breath away, pause. Take a deep breath and respond with calm leadership. Another big step, and this is the second step, is to reframe your challenge. Your perspective determines your reality. In cases where you think that people may be, challenging your authority or not believing that you can do something, that's all your perspective. If somebody questions something that you're doing, it's probably because it's not clear to them, rather than taking it as an ego trip of you can respond. Instead of asking why me, you can ask, what can I learn from this? If things aren't going your way, reframe your challenge. A co-parenting conflict can be reframed as an opportunity to practice patience and improve communication. Step 3, you can focus on what you can control. Most stress comes from focusing on what we can't control. So write down 2 lists. 1 for what's in your control and 1 for what isn't. Then focus only on the first list. You cannot change the world, but what you can do is move the things that are within your grasp. You can't control your ex's attitude. You can't control your wife's frustration. You can't control your kids being upset with you because you told them no, but you can control how you handle interactions with them. Step 4, take small, intentional actions. Big problems are solved through small, consistent steps. Break down any problem with 1 small step you can take today. I always use this analogy, and I say it with my 10-year-old to kind of help him build in this patience and take small, intentional actions. I ask him, how do you eat an elephant? And I always ask him, how do you eat an elephant? And while he's frustrated, it takes him aback a little bit, but he already knows what it comes because I ask him the exact same question. How do you eat an elephant? And you eat it 1 bite at a time. I wouldn't recommend trying to eat an elephant. That's a lot of elephant. Even baby elephants are a lot. But anyways, I'll stay on topic. If you feel disconnected from your kids, start with 10 minutes of focused time with them every day, or 15 minutes. That's why this podcast is called 15 Minutes with Dad. And you can literally take 1 step at a time. You may not be able to win their love immediately or win their forgiveness immediately or get your spouse to be okay or get your co-parent to understand your perspective. But you got to take it 1 step at a time. The fifth step is to reflect and adjust. Growth is not automatic. You have to check in with yourself. Once you set a goal and you have measures in place, you'll be able to check back in with yourself. Like at the end of each week, ask yourself, what went well? What can I improve on? And if you lost your temper with your child, let's say you lost your temper to a child, reflect. How could I have handled that differently? And adjust for the next time. And step 6, stay present while taking small steps toward your future. This is something that I've coached my brothers on. I've used in my real life, and I learned this in a very difficult way. But once I figured out that I was homeless, and I had to figure out how, and I had a child at the time. I was like 20, but I had a child at the time, and I had no place to go. And I'm looking at my life like, how will I get to a place of, let's say, abundance or contribution to my child? And if I would have been stressed out and living in my future, which, need I mind you, I'm telling you this in hindsight, but if you live too far in the future, you feel anxious. If you live too far in the past, you'll feel regret. True power is in the present. Focusing on the fact that, okay, today I got to build structure. I got to build a foundation, but I need to still take small steps for my future. And I always tell my brother this in this format. You have to worry about your now, get your now together, but also be making steps towards your future and keeping that vision at the forefront. Focusing on the small daily wins that build toward a bigger vision. If you want to be a better father, focus on being engaged today and not worrying about how you'll measure up in 5 years. That is stressful because you're like, oh, my present now, like sometimes we put our present into the future and say, because it's like this now, this is how it's going to be in the future. But if you're taking steps to lead toward this bigger vision that you've created in the you 2.0, the better version of yourself, then taking those small steps today will lead to that bigger step in the future. And for me, it was, I needed to find work. I found work. I ended up having to move somewhere and like sacrifice my time that I had with my child for the most part and waking up to her every day. But I had to also go and use that time to go to school. So I was in school. It was sacrifices to get back and forth from, 600 miles away to come to see my daughter throughout that time, the drama that I was going through. But I had to stay focused on that vision. I had to continuously work. I had to continuously go to school in order to make sure that I don't end up in the same place I was. And every day since then has been a progressive step. Now, it hasn't been an uphill. I mean, it hasn't been a consistent plateau or a great time. It's been an uphill battle throughout the entirety. And sometimes it was a downhill and then it was uphill. But you don't climb a mountain straight up. You have to go up and oxidize and then oxidate and then come back down a little bit, then oxidate and go back up a little bit. And you gradually increase. And that was what my life was like, taking small steps for the future while focusing on making sure that my present was together and had a foundation. Fatherhood isn't just about surviving the challenges. It's about growing through them. Today, we explored why adversity is your greatest teacher, the core principles of inner excellence and how they apply to fatherhood, and a 6-step framework to shift your mindset and turn setbacks into growth. So here's your challenge. The next time adversity hits, don't just react. Use the 6-step framework. Start training yourself to see challenges as opportunities, not obstacles. Growth happens in the process, not just the outcome. If you're enjoying this series, visit 15 Minutes with Dad for more insights, exercises, and tools to help you on your journey. Next week, we'll be bringing everything together in our final 2 episodes, finding your purpose, crafting a vision for your future as a father. You won't want to miss it. Make sure you subscribe to 15 Minutes with Dad on your favorite podcast platforms and follow us on social media at 15 Minutes with Dad for more fatherhood insights, motivation, and support. Until next time, embrace the challenge, stay focused, and keep growing. Your kids are watching, and the man you become will shape the legacy you leave behind. And just like that, we've hit an end of another epic journey here at 15 Minutes with Dad. I'm your host, Lirec, and I am thrilled to have shared this time with you. But guess what? The conversation is far from over. Want to dive deeper into the Dadverse? Check out our website at 15minuteswithdad.com and join our vibrant community on Instagram, Discord, and TikTok for your daily dose of dad inspiration camaraderie. And here's something special. Subscribe to our newsletter at 15minuteswithdad.com for exclusive goodies and behind-the-scene peeks you won't find anywhere else. Got a burning question or a dad moment that made you proud? We're all ears. Submit your questions and share those special moments with us for a chance to be featured and shout out on our show. It's your time to shine in our dad community, so tap in with our Discord, and our server is at 15 Minutes with Dad. So tap in for that, engage with the community, and you will be featured on our show. Each week we will do another feature, so join in. Love today's episode. Spread the love by sharing it with a friend and leaving us a review. Let's get the word out and grow our awesome dad family, because guess what? When you give us a review and you rate our podcast, you give everybody the chance to enjoy what you've enjoyed about this podcast as well. So mark your calendars, because new episodes drop every Thursday of the week. Ready for more heartwarming stories, laughs, and dad wisdom? We can't wait to have you back. But until next time, keep being the amazing dad you are. Every day is a new adventure and every moment is special. Catch you on the next episode. Love, peace, and chicken grease.